Hey everybody, Felicia Rogers here. I am your hippie bookworm, and today we're going to be talking about the movie The Fault in Our Stars. Just a little bit of, a tip here. So I have a kitten running around here. If she comes into the room and she hears me talking, especially to myself, she will interject her own opinions. So if you hear her in the background, that's just her talking back to me. So let's go ahead and get into the movie. I loved The Fault in Our Stars. I give it 5 stars. And the reason why I give it 5 stars is that it actually follows the storyline. I love that. I love that it follows the storyline. I love that it doesn't stray too far from the story in the book. I think that the directors do take a little bit of creative license, and I think that that's okay. Sometimes it works better. Sometimes, you do have to take a little bit of creative license to make a project your own, but all of the creative licenses that they did take did fall in line, with the book, and I think that that is very important. So, I'm very happy, with the way that the movie turned out. I thought it was a great movie. One other thing I'd like to talk about, Shailene Woodley. I think Shailene did a great job. A lot of people aren't like huge fans of Shailene Woodley. I think that she's a little, tainted by her role in The Secret Life of the American Teenager, and that's okay. I think that she's gonna, really grow into her roles now that she's breaking out into movies. I think that we're just gonna see her get more and more diverse. And I thought that portraying Hazel Grace Lancaster, she actually gave, a really good performance. She gave a lot of depth into the performance, and I thought that that was really cool. So yeah, I really liked her. The funny thing is that the guy who plays Augustus Waters actually plays her brother in the Divergent series. So we're sitting here and we're watching Hazel and Augustus, fall in love with one another, very slowly over time. And the one thing that I can't, stop thinking is like, wait a minute, this is Tris and Caleb Pryor in the Divergent movies. So I thought that was a little weird for me, but not really. They had great chemistry together. I thought that they, did a great job together. Really loved them in their scenes in Belgium. I thought that, that transition from being, from being friends and then moving into, being more than friends, being people who are actually in love with one another. I thought they did a great job with that transition. It was really great. So I love that. Loved, Augustus, loved Hazel, loved all of their scenes in Belgium. The one thing I did not like about this movie was Peter Van Houten. So Peter Van Houten in the movie is sort of like the ultimate fear that Hazel has, that this is what her parents and, especially her dad is going to become, or her mom is going to become, after she's gone. So she has terminal cancer, and she's like, what are my parents going to become after I'm gone? And I think that that is, one of the things that she thinks are going to become Peter Van Houten. Peter Van Houten is extreme. He's completely gluttonous, he's fat, he's, a drunkard, he's rude, he's basically a recluse, he doesn't have any friends, he doesn't want to make any friends. And, I think that the movie could have pushed it a little further there. I think that they could have really ran with this character, and I think they toned him down a little bit too much. The other thing I'd like to talk about is the emotional roller coaster that we're on. Now, first of all, this is a YA book. So this is a book that, was basically written for teenagers. And so we're going to see the emotions, go up and down, up and down, up and down. That's just how the books go. And I think that the movie did the same thing, and I loved it. I love the fact that, here we are, Hazel's with her friends, she's making friends, she's hanging out with people, she's becoming a kid, finally able to embrace being a teenager, and then all of a sudden, bam, we're down here because she's sick and her lungs have filled with fluid, or or Augustus, has broken the news that he has terminal cancer again, something like that. So you know, the emotions were up and down. It was great. I think, you know, when Augustus Waters broke the news to Hazel that he had terminal cancer and maybe gone before she even is, you know, I started crying. The girl that I went to the movies with started crying. And of course, you know, we heard a couple sniffles behind us as well. So I think that this, you know, overall was a great movie. I really encourage you, if you like the book, go and check it out. And I guess, you know, until then, you know, keep posting. Leave me your comments on thehippybookworm.com. Write in the comments section. Let me know. We'll keep the conversation going. And keep reading, guys, and I'll see you later.